Same pills, same time, same routine you've followed for years. But here's what nobody tells you about it. I watched a stronger man than me go down on a bathroom floor. What's really in your medicine cabinet doing to you? Stay, and you'll know the one question to ask before it costs you something. I'm Atlas Reed. Subscribe. You belong here. Point 1. Somewhere in your medicine cabinet right now, there's a small orange bottle doing something no doctor has probably ever sat you down and explained. It's treating the condition it says it's treating, but that's not all it's doing. Part of what that pill does, quietly, is change the way you balance. I watched a stronger man than me lose his footing on a bathroom floor, and for a long time I assumed the danger in a story like that was always strength or age catching up with him. It isn't just that. As of 2017, 94% of adults over 65 in this country were prescribed at least one medication proven to raise fall risk, up from 57% less than 2 decades earlier. 94%. Let that number sit for a second. That's not a fringe statistic. That's almost every man watching this, holding a bottle that's working against him in a way nobody explained at the pharmacy counter, because the label warns about nausea and drowsiness, not about the half second of instability that shows up 3 steps later in a hallway with nobody watching. Think of it like driving on a tire that's losing air slowly. The car still handles fine, right up until the exact moment it doesn't, usually on a turn you've taken 1,000 times before without thinking twice. Nobody checks tire pressure because the car feels normal. Nobody reviews a medication list for balance because the man taking it feels normal too, until the one afternoon he doesn't. At 61, I watched my father, stronger than most men his whole life, go down on wet tile and never fully trust his legs again. The research on medication says something just as sobering. By 2017, nearly every adult over 65 was taking a prescription proven to raise fall risk, most never warned. If it's not just strength, and it's not just age, what is the pill actually doing to the way you stand? Point 2. Here's the part almost nobody explains. Most fall risk medications don't make you weak. They make you dizzy at the exact wrong moment, the second you stand up. It's called orthostatic hypotension, and it's simpler than the name sounds. Blood pressure medication, certain antidepressants, even common sedatives can blunt the reflex that pushes blood back up to your brain the moment you go from sitting to standing. For a few seconds, your brain runs on less blood than it needs, and in that gap, the room seems to tilt. The legs feel a half step behind, and balance simply isn't there yet. Somewhere between 20 and 30% of adults over 65 deal with this regularly, which means if you're on one of these medications, the odds aren't rare. They're closer to a coin flip. This is what doesn't get checked at a normal physical. Not because it doesn't matter, but because nobody asks. A doctor checks the blood pressure reading itself. Almost nobody checks what happens in the 3 seconds right after you stand up from that same chair, which is precisely when this shows up. It's like standing up too fast out of a hot bath and the room tilts for a second. Except at 60 on a hard bathroom floor, that tilt is exactly when a hip breaks. You don't fix this by stopping a medication your doctor prescribed for good reason. You fix it by changing exactly one thing: how you move from sitting to standing. So what does that actually look like, done right, every single time you get out of a chair? Point 3, there's a specific sequence to it. Sit at the edge, pause, come up halfway, pause again. That gives that reflex time to catch up before your full weight lands on your legs, which is exactly the Safe Rise protocol that Still Standing After 60 walks through. It's linked in the description. And if you're watching on TV right now, there's a QR code on screen. Scan it and it'll take you straight there. That pause is the whole difference. A few unhurried seconds is usually enough for blood pressure to catch up, and it costs you nothing except a little patience. Patience most men skip on their way to the coffee pot or the front door, exactly when it matters most. But medication timing on its own doesn't explain why 2 men on the exact same pill can have completely different mornings. So what's the missing variable? Point 4, here's where it gets specific. 2 men can be on the identical blood pressure medication, same dose, same age, and one never feels a thing while the other nearly goes down every morning. The difference usually isn't the pill itself, it's what else is stacked on top of it. A sedative for sleep, an antihistamine for allergies, a muscle relaxer left over from an old back injury. Each one individually might be manageable on its own. Combined, they compound in ways most pharmacies don't flag and most doctors don't have the time to catch, because reviewing the whole cabinet at once isn't really anyone's specific job. And medication is rarely the only thing stacked up. About 80% of falls happen during completely ordinary daily activity. Not on a ladder, not on ice, just walking through a house. More than half of in-home falls in one major study happened in slippers, socks, or bare feet, and men wearing standard multifocal glasses carry roughly double the fall risk of men in single-distance lenses, because those lenses blur the exact few inches of floor in front of the next step. None of that shows up on a prescription label either. That's the piece almost nobody puts together, and it's exactly why the next 30 seconds are worth more than most of what gets covered at a yearly physical. So do this right now, wherever you're sitting. Stand up out of your chair the way you normally would. No hands, no pushing off the armrest. If you felt even a flicker of a head rush or you had to steady yourself for a second, that's not clumsiness. That's your body telling you something specific and real about what's sitting in that cabinet. Point 5. That 30-second test just told you more than most physicals will, because the real danger was never one common pill. It's the combination sitting quietly in a cabinet nobody's looked at as a whole system in years. Every prescription reviewed one bottle at a time, never all together, never against each other. This isn't built to alarm, it's built to inform one decision. Bring the full list, every bottle, every dose, even the over-the-counter ones, the sleep aids, the allergy pills, to one conversation with your doctor or pharmacist and ask the one question almost nobody asks out loud. What is this doing to my balance? Not whether to stop taking anything. Not whether something is dangerous in isolation. Just how the whole list behaves together in one body on one ordinary Tuesday. That question costs you nothing, and it changes everything downstream from it. A man who asks it isn't managing a health scare. He's not waiting for an incident to force a conversation that could have happened months earlier over nothing but a few extra minutes at the pharmacy counter. He's the man who checked the tire before the turn, not after it. The real fall risk was never just the pill on your nightstand. It's not knowing what all of them do together, and nobody's checking that but you. That's precisely the gap Still Standing After 60 was built to close. It walks you through exactly how to review a medication list for fall risk, the full Safe Rise protocol for getting up without triggering a drop, the footwear and vision factors that stack on top of it, and the complete system behind staying steady on your own 2 feet for good. It's linked in the description below, and if you're watching on TV, the QR code is right there on screen. The cost of waiting here isn't dramatic. The cost it's just quiet compounding. Every month that cabinet goes unreviewed is another month the risk builds a little further unnoticed, right up until the one ordinary afternoon it finally asks for more balance than what's left. That's not a scare tactic. It's just how this particular risk actually behaves. And it's worth acting on while it's still just information, not an incident. If this is the kind of training intelligence you want every week, subscribe. We put out videos weekly, and everyone is built for men serious about staying independent. I'm Atlas Reed. Keep doing the work.